Wow. Just wow. I've been fascinated this morning, guys. What I have just seen on the news here is completely insane for Ripple and XRP. The biggest issue that they had has already been resolved right now. Like, first there was an issue about XRP being a security. Boom, that one was gone. The second and actually last issue that you could have ever had with Ripple is that they had a lot of XRP. But right now, some news came out which eases the whole situation, because theoretically, if we as a community wanted them to let go of that XRP, it would be possible and it would be burned. Yeah, it's that crazy. It is that crazy. It's possible. So the situation, of course, is a little bit broader than I just made it out to be, but the narrative is quite clear that if we wanted so, they could burn it all. And theoretically speaking, there are a couple of reasons why we would want that. However, in the broader sense, it would be a very negative thing if the community decided for them to burn it all. So in the end, it's not like they should or will, but it is possible, which a lot of people never thought. And I think this actually puts a lot more credit on XRP. And if you're questioning, would this make the price go up? I'm not gonna say that will do so. However, the news itself is so extremely bullish for XRP. And by the way, if you're an XRP community member, check out the Discord. A link is down below. A lot of us are talking in here right now, and it's getting busier and busier, guys. I really enjoy you guys all comment on in here, so check it out. A link is in the description below. And my question of today is, where are you guys watching from right now? All right, what city specifically? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right. Ripple CTO says community could demand billions in XRP to burn. Such a move would be the decision of the majority. Ripple CTO David Schwartz has confirmed that the company could be forced to burn billions in XRP if the community willed it. Ripple, a currency exchange network that offers the XRP token, yada yada yada, has roughly half of it held by Ripple. We know that it's locked in escrow. On December 2nd, a Twitter user going by the handle of IKHOR asked the CTO what Ripple's reaction would be if all nodes, validators, and the community at large agreed that the XRP held in escrow by Ripple should be burned. And in response, Schwartz implied that the majority rule would win such a decision. So, if you guys don't know how the ruling works in XRP, there are in this case here, what he's explaining is there are nodes which control the consensus for XRP, or at least they kind of decide what the natural row or order of transactions should be, right? Logically with any blockchain. So they also, of course, decide the rules, and amendments can take place, and if one has to pull through, they need to have the 80% majority vote for on in a row, like 2 weeks. However, in this case here, the question was, what if all that, I guess, have the control over the network, like all the people, which is, by the way, just a small percentage Ripple, what if they all decided that they wanted to move forward with Ripple not having that much XRP? Would it work? All right, or would there be a mechanism in place to hold it back? And David Schwartz implied here that the majority rule would win such a decision, and it is possible. He said, yes, there would be nothing Ripple could do to stop that from happening, Schwartz commented. Public blockchains are very democratic. If the majority wants such a rule change, there is nothing the minority can do to stop them. The Ripple executive previously explained that XRP could be burned by paying it as a fee or by sending it to an account whose public key hash has insufficient entropy to have a correspondent private key anyone could ever find. As noted by Cointelegraph, Ripple has come under fire in the past for selling millions of tokens on a regular basis, and when asked how much XRP the CTO personally held, he said he held between 1 and 10 million XRP. While congratulating the Ethereum community on the launch of the Beacon chain, Schwartz also reflected on the future of Bitcoin, saying, Bitcoin has to continue to evolve to avoid technological obsolescence. And David Schwartz has been in the community for years now, and he's been very active on Bitcoin forums, or actually crypto forums. We've covered that a couple of times before, but one of the things he's primarily known for is being a Bitcoin or a proof of work kind of againster. I don't know how you say that in English perfectly. Like, he's been against proof of work for a very long while. as he knows as well as we do right now, if you're watching the channel on a regular basis, that the whole concept behind proof of work is flawed because it takes a lot of electricity, that's one, but also there's actually a lot of possibilities for a 51% attack. Now, on Ripple, there was kind of such an attack yesterday, and not a real attack, but an attack in words. So there was a company, a University of Bern, I believe, who said that Ripple actually never reaches true consensus, and in reality, their whole chain is kind of BS. It doesn't really work. It's really kind of based upon thin air. Start to think about it, and an attack would really mess it all up. Now, David Schwartz claimed, however, that such an attack is in practice actually quite hard to pull off. The same for, I guess, any other chain or any other coin out there, where an attack is almost always theoretically speaking possible, but just very, very difficult. And the thing with Bitcoin is all it takes is a lot of money. That's all it takes if you really want to break Bitcoin. Or another one could be if China, as one entity in one country, decides to pull out or to take control over those miners. And there was, of course, this big discussion by Brad Garlinghouse versus Anthony Pompliano before about whether or not China could force some of those bigger mining companies, which control like 50, 60, 70, 80 even percent of the mining power of Bitcoin, if China could force them to do something. Brad Garlinghouse said yes, and Anthony Pompliano said no. They could force them to quit, but they could never force them to do something, which, again, you'll have differing opinions depending on what or how much power you think China has. And I'm going to personally stand on Brad Garlinghouse's side that if the rule is, all right, you're either going to do this or it puts you in prison for 50 years or for life, or you're going to, I don't know, something like that. I've made my choice. And the thing is as well, you got to consider that these guys over in China then, they get a choice which will ultimately make them a freaking ton of money, right? Because let's say the top four mining companies have over 50%, which is all they need. If they decide to, again, kind of go rogue and make sure that the whole network, messes up, and they have one massive short in Bitcoin, I'm talking, a multi-billion-dollar short in Bitcoin, and maybe even a freaking trillion-dollar short with the government involved, I don't know. They're going to make a lot of money. And I also assume they're going to get a lot of prestige over there in China. So the rewards will most likely be greater than the losses, except for, of course, your company not being worth anything anymore. But you guys get the idea, though, right? That there are some benefits to doing that. So they would most likely be incentivized quite properly if the prison sentence as a downside wasn't enough to to get them to do it. So that's my idea about the situation, where there's a good chance that things like that can occur. And with XRP, it's actually a lot more difficult, and a couple other coins out there is also very difficult because, well, first of all, they're really spread around the world. It's a lot harder to understand where exactly they are or who exactly are it. And you're going to have to contact so many parties if you want a 50% ruling. Again, I don't perfectly know how it's distributed because I don't have those statistics in front of me, but it's a lot more difficult than with Bitcoin, where all the companies you can just find out in a 10-second Google. Ripple CTO says majority vote would force the burning of billions of XRP. Again, it's being written everywhere right now. Everybody's really, really happy with this because it's not even about the idea that it's going to happen, right? It doesn't really have to happen at all. I just think the idea that it's possible, and that if we really wanted to, and again, it's not like just you and I can decide this, right? We, of course, need a very proper reasoning because you're going to have to convince all the node operators to pull through with this, which they won't, because I just told you guys as well, it is not in your best interest as an XRP holder for Ripple to stop it all. I've told you guys before, even though it feels kind of nice to know that, this whole 100 billion supply has gone down to about 40, let's say 50, this whole 99 billion here has gone down to about 45 because all Ripples will be out. It's still not that nice, though, if you start to consider the fact that now XRPs in terms of utility is really going to be dropping, because what can Ripple really do without any XRP? What can they really incentivize if they don't have any money to give, and if they cannot provide OTC sales at all and things like that? Yeah, on that note, I do understand that that's not your best interest. That's not the best thing you would want to do. I get that a lot. However, the idea that it's possible is very, very bullish, and I really, really love it. So yeah, as I said before, all major sources are talking about this now. All sources are talking about this now. Ripple CTO, yes, and Ripple could do nothing to stop them. Okay, let's see here. Too bad XRP. Wait, so Schwartz hit out at the Stellar Development Fund for burning more than 50% of the total XLM writing or tokens writing. Too bad XRP is decentralized, or someone could just burn half the supply and raise the price to 29 cents. And this, by the way, is a jab. Because, well, let me give you guys a small little history session, all right? This is very, very important to know. There's two things. One, we need to know that Stellar founder Jed McCaleb also created XRP and also created Ripple, right? He was there through the process. He was there before he created Stellar. Second of all, the Stellar Foundation, or Stellar at least, decided to burn half of the XLM supply at one point because they, again, allegedly were afraid of the price drop and they wanted to up it. And what they basically, by the way, if you're hearing a drill outside, I'm so sorry. I cannot stop it. It's been going on all day. It woke me up and it's still going on every, 15 seconds. So yeah, there's no going around this one. Yeah. The situation is where they burned a lot of it because, well, it sounded like a good idea. But let's check it out, this little small section. XRP Ledger amendments require an 80% approval rating from the ledger's validators and are activated if they stay above the threshold for 2 weeks, like we just said. In June, validators on the XPL notably voted to adopt a new amendment dubbed the Checks Amendment without support from Ripple because Ripple actually voted against it, yet it still pulled through. The amendment introduces the ability for users to write checks to each other for a predetermined amount of XRP that can be redeemed at a later period, and Schwartz comments come as something of a postscript to an incident in November last year in which it was revealed Ripple could also unilaterally decide to burn the billions in access supply. At the time, Stellar had just reached its total supply of 105 billion XLM tokens, down to, or reduced it to 50 billion. Schwartz hit out at the Stellar Development Fund for burning 50%, writing, "Too bad XRP decentralized, or someone could just burn half the supply and raise the price to 29 cents. And Stellar co-founder Jed McCaleb fired back at Ripple to say that they could just burn as many tokens as easily, because David Schwartz, again, just said that. He said, what are you talking about? Ripple Labs can burn half the XRP supply, and he's not lying about that. He's not lying about that. The only problem is because it is locked in escrow, they can't just take it out of escrow unless that was once more decided by all the validators, or at least 80%. Schwartz concealed that it could be done, explaining that it would have to be done through a non-traditional method, like using the tokens as fees or sending them to an account that could never be accessed. And that's the only way that they could do it in their own logical sense, because they can't really burn that money themselves, right? How are they going to go about that? How can you just literally burn it? Well, there's two main options, as you just said. One is sending, for example, 1 XRP with a 1 billion XRP fee. That's possible. And the second one would be to send it to an account where no address can be accessed, or at least cannot easily be accessed, where the private key is locked or not known or something like that. However, of course, that one is also a little bit of a shady one, as some might say that it's still going to get accessed eventually, or maybe in 50 years somebody will find it still. Ripple has been the subject of long-standing criticism for routinely selling tokens. According to the report in early 2020 by XRP Arcade, the firm sold an average of 196 million XRP each month since December of 2017, and as of per April, a total of 5.5 billion XRP has been sold, or $3.45 billion at the time of writing, which of course is a little bit less. In the second and third quarters this year, Ripple stopped selling XRP and started buying back the tokens to support its price. In Q3, the firm purchased 45.5 million in XRP, kind of, taken away from Jed McCaleb selling. Maybe they're kind of, buying it back, whatever he is selling, sort of, to kind of be like, if one co-founder has quit and he's selling his stock, that's kind of what it feels like. And you as a co-founder are like, you know what, just sell it to me, I'll buy it back. I don't give a crap. Give it to me. I know this company is going to be growing, which might kind of be what's happening right here. It kind of feels like that. So there's one thing you should know, and that is that Stellar has a different ruling than XRP has, and it can be easily seen in this just little talk right here, because what they did with Stellar is they had a certain supply, right? And that supply was supposed to increase through airdrops, because Stellar was supposed to have the biggest airdrop ever, $120 million, I believe, and for the team, which is once more airdrop, but then not given to the community, but to the team. They were going to give, partially to both. And what they did was they cut half the supply, and thus they were cutting, so all the money that was going to be airdropped, they cut a huge amount of that away, so it wasn't going to be airdropped anymore. And thus what happened was they did not do it the perfect ratio where they cut out what the team was supposed to get and they just gave it to the community, at least a small part. No, they cut out where the majority of what the community was going to get was just lost, and a smaller part of what the team was going to get was then also lost as well. And when I saw that, I instantly sold my XLM because I did not enjoy it, the decision that was made. However, looking back at it, it is a very centralized idea. And Jed actually doesn't go against that, the idea that it's centralized. He just says, well, XRP could also get this same kind of result because they also control, or Ripple could, half of the supply. And yeah, to a certain degree, he's right. To another degree, it's not like that would work the same way. It's not like it's that simple, right? We all get it now. I've explained to you guys quite properly, I hope. Then also, Bitcoin amount miners have been sending to exchanges soars 630% in the past 24 hours. This has been pretty big announcement, pretty big thing. I think right now that a lot more has to be sent through exchanges from all the miners, and a lot more has to be done right now. A lot more has to be sold because, first of all, the price is so high, and second of all, the demand is so crazy that it just kind of feels logical for more miners to sell their crypto, right? So this metric is just showing how much they're supplying to these exchanges. In this case here, it's 25.7 thousand Bitcoin, I believe, right? In 2 days. I might be wrong on that though. Maybe it's 25 per hour or something like that. I don't really know. I think it's actually 25,000 for the last 2 days or so. Miners, here it says 24 hours, but here it says a 2-day chart. Or no, it's 2 day, whatever. Miners to exchange flow 2-day MA increased significantly in the last 24 hours. Current value is 25.7 thousand BTC, up 600% from the 3.4 thousand earlier. That's always confusing with the American and the Europe way to write things. You know, this is 25.707, which is I think the Europe way of writing it, right? Because in America, this would be a comma, and there would be a period right here to show decimals. In Europe, though, this is the way to write it, with a period as like provider for thousands and a comma for decimals. But here at the top, they already said it's about $500,000. So, wait, what the frick? That's also really strange. Oh no, so it is 25 Bitcoin then. Wait, so the value, no, then it is the American way. The value of this metric 2-day MA has spiked to jaw-dropping. Is this per person? Miners to exchange flow. 2-day MA. I don't know why. I thought it was a lot more than that. Well, I guess I don't even get this one perfectly. I might have to look into it a little bit better before I can give you guys any info on this one then. Miners are actively selling their Bitcoin. That over the past day, cryptocurrency miners have increased their amount of Bitcoin sent to digital exchanges to be sold. The value of this metric has spiked a jaw-drop 600% from 3.5 Bitcoin to 25.7 Bitcoin. Because this is on average about $500,000, right? Because it's times 20,000. So yeah, times 25. Yeah. All right. I'm officially confused. Maybe it's per miner. Bitcoin miners to exchange flow. Well, yeah. Let me just quickly ignore that one because I'm stupid and dumb. Because 25 Bitcoin is not that much, right? Out of the 900 that's being mined, only 25 is being sent. Yeah, let me not comment on this one because I'm too stupid to understand. Is Ripple leaving the US? CEO backpedals on threats after Biden win. This is actually kind of interesting. So at first, they were really excited about leaving if it were to be necessary, but now some new statements came out that Ripple actually wants to wait out and see what Biden has in plan because they think that the rulings will be positive for Ripple and thus they don't really have to leave. That's something a lot of you guys commented angrily about in the comment section earlier today. However, I am pretty excited about this because, well, we all are trusting in Ripple, of course. So if they trust the system, then so should we, right? So should we be trusting this. I also saw some theories saying, they actually don't trust it, but they're against it. However, this is a heavy scheme that they're pulling. I do not know. I cannot really comment on that one. I just know I trust the system, I trust their plans, and I'm just pretty excited for what they're going to be bringing, and I'm not going to doubt their process at all, right? That's me. I'm not doubting this at all. I just think, let's see what they got, and it will be fine. The same one once more, and this one, Grayscale absorbs $137 million more in Bitcoin in last 24 hours, $12.6 billion in AUM in total. So Grayscale now manages $12.6 billion in crypto after acquiring $137 million more of Bitcoin over the past day or so. And guys, the supply crisis is real. I've told you guys about this. They are going heavily into Bitcoin and into crypto generally. Of course, they're increasing all of them. And Barry Silbert is going to be a freaking trillionaire if this is going to continue on like that. It's amazing what they're doing. They have a 2% annual fee for just buying crypto. That's basically what they do. It's really stupid. I really don't get how these systems work and why companies, I actually do get kind of why they would go for that. It's a lot safer. But it's crazy, guys. It's crazy how this is going on right now. And they're going so heavy. And even Grayscale is the biggest Bitcoin buyer right now. And they, together with PayPal and Square, are buying such huge chunks. There's nothing left for us. No. But crypto prices are going up really hard, and I think eventually they'll also adopt to coins like XRP by purchasing those on the heavy. But for right now, it's logical that they're going for Bitcoin, of course. But consider this, guys. If you're ever down, just consider that they are buying more in 1 hour than you will ever see in your entire life in terms of Bitcoin. So, if I always keep that idea in mind, I'm not really that worried. I'm not really that sad to be holding. Just kind of feels natural because, well, they bought a ton at 20,000. And I'm here with my average price being so low. I mean, I really can't judge anymore. I just feel nice. But yeah, guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video.